working on GMetrix Access 2016, Practice Exam 1. We're on the first project called Ice Cream Production. The first task tells us to create a one-to-many relationship between the customer number field of the customer's table and the buyer field on the orders table. It tells us join should return all customer records even if they have placed no orders, and it tells us to accept all other defaults. Let's go to begin by clicking Enable Content if you have that. And then what we want to do is select at the top Database Tools, and in the Relations group we're going to go ahead and select Relationships. With this we need to open up two of the tables. The first one is the Customers table, and the second one is the Orders table, and then we can close out of the screen. From here what I'm going to do is click Customer's Number on the Customers table, and I'm going to go ahead and click and drag that until I hover over Buyer, and I'm going to let go, which brings up the Edit Relationships dialog box. From here I want to go ahead and select Join Type, and then what I want to do is select number 2. Include all records from customers and only those records from orders where the join fields are equal. We're going to go ahead and click OK, and we're going to go ahead and select Create. We'll go ahead and click Mark Completed. This task tells us in the daily production table that we need to set the flavor ID field as the primary key. Let's go ahead and close out of this, and we'll open up daily production table. We'll change this to the design view, and then with the flavor ID field selected, I'm going to go ahead and select primary key, and notice that little key icon displayed there to the left. We'll go ahead and click Mark Completed. Task 3 wants us to configure this database to open with the startup form named New Customers, and then it tells us do not close the database. Let's go ahead and close out of this. We're going to go to the File tab here at the top. We'll select Options. In the Access Options dialog box, we're going to go and click Current Database. And in the display form, we want to change this from None to New Customers, and we'll click OK. It tells us that we need to close and reopen the database for this to take effect. We'll click OK, and we will not do that per the instructions here. We'll go ahead and click Mark Completed. Task 4 tells us to configure the database to auto compact when closed. And then again, it tells us do not close the database. We'll go back to the File tab here at the top. We'll select Options. We're in the Current Database section, and what we want to do is select Compact on Close, and we'll click OK. This screen pops up again that tells us that we need to close and reopen the database. We'll click OK, and we'll ignore that. We'll go ahead and click Mark Completed. Task 5 wants us to create a brand new table, and it gives us some fields that we need to go ahead and create and set. What I want to do is go to the Create tab here at the top. In the Tables group, I want to select Table. I'm going to go ahead and change this to Design View, and it's asking me to save this table. It tells us here in the instructions that we need to change the table name to Shipping with a capital S, so we'll go ahead and type that. We'll click OK. The first field name is going to be Tracking ID, so we'll go ahead and change that. It tells us to set the number type from Auto to Number, so we'll click this drop down here and select Number. It also tells us that this first field is going to be the primary key. We have that key icon here next to Tracking ID, so we're good with that. We're going to click here in the second field name. This one's going to be called Order. This is also going to be the number format. And our third field is going to be called Ship Date, so we'll go ahead and type that in. And this data type is going to be date and time. We'll go ahead and close out of this table. It's asking us, do we want to save our changes? We'll go ahead and select Yes, and we'll click Mark Completed. Task 6 wants us to create a query named All Flavors that appends the records in the Holiday Flavors table to the Flavors table, and it tells us running the query is optional. To do that, what we want to do is go to the Create. We're going to go to the Queries group and select Query Design. In this dialog box, we want to select Holiday Flavors, and we'll close out of this. We want to go ahead and select the flavor ID and the flavor. We then want to go ahead and select Append. In the table name, we want to change this to Flavors, and we'll click OK. The Append to down here changed. We can close out of this. It's going to ask us, do you want to save this? The answer is yes. And we want to change this from Query 1 to All Flavors. We'll click OK. And we'll click Mark Completed. Task 7 wants us to add a field named profit to the flavor margins query, and it's going to have us calculate the difference between wholesale price and cost per gallon. And then it tells us to save the query, and running the query is optional. What we want to do is go ahead and open up the flavor margins query. We'll change this view to design view. In this section here, what we want to do is type in profit, which is our field name. We'll do the colon. We'll do space. We're going to do an open bracket here. We're going to type in wholesale price. We'll close the bracket. We'll do subtraction. We'll start a brand new open bracket. And we'll type in cost per gallon. We'll go ahead and close this bracket. And I'm going to go ahead and hit enter to set the text. Some things to note: that when I was typing these field names, I capitalized the W, the P, the C, P, and the G. I want to make sure that you spell and capitalize these correctly. We'll go ahead and close out of this. It's asking us, do we want to save this? We do. We'll select yes. And we'll click Mark Completed.